Hello, I'm Noel Capon. Welcome to Chapter 11 in your marketing textbook, Managing Brands. This is the third chapter that deals with Imperative 3, Set Strategic Direction and Positioning. And in this chapter, we will be examining the scope of branding. Now, from the point of view of marketers, branding is becoming an increasingly important area as top management realizes how valuable brands are to the corporation. They have enormous value. And indeed, as firms outsource more and more of their various activities, in a very real sense, brands are becoming the defining factor of the organization. In this chapter, we'll talk about what a brand is, what can be branded, and different levels of branding. Then we'll discuss brand associations and show that the associations that customers and other entities have about the firm's brands in effect define what those brands are. In a very real sense, firms do not own their own brands. In fact, one can think of customers as in fact owning the firm's brands. Now, I said earlier that brands have value to the corporation, but they also have value to customers. And indeed, it's because they have value to customers that they then have value to the corporation. One of the things we'll show in this chapter is how to go about calculating the value of a brand, both for customers and for the firm, and then we'll show the relationship between those two different types of value. Of course, it's one thing to understand that brands have value and to be able to measure that value. It's quite a different thing to actually build a brand that has that value. So one of the things that we'll talk about in this chapter is the building blocks that you need to develop and sustain a strong brand. Toward the end of the chapter, we'll talk about managing brand architecture. We'll talk about the trade-offs between multiple branding and umbrella branding. We'll also address global branding, brand migration, and brand broadening, or sometimes called brand leveraging. We'll conclude by talking about strategic alliances and aging brands. Branding is a critical topic for marketers, and this chapter will provide a foundation in terms of understanding brands and managing brands. Now, as you go through the chapter, one of the things you might do is to think about some of your favorite brands and see how the ideas that we develop in the chapter in fact apply to those brands. The other thing you should remember, of course, that you are a brand. You as an individual are a brand. And think about how some of the ideas in the chapter apply to you as you market yourself in various situations. Good luck.